Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Jeremy Babender. Thank you for joining us today for this session of STEM Community Lunchtime Conversations. We are excited to talk today about MedTech innovations now and in the future. So today's presenters are here with us about the advancements in products and services that help people live healthier lives in Arizona and beyond. Our presenters for this session are Joan Kerber-Walker, President and CEO of AZ Bio, and Russell Olson, VP, Innovation and Product Management at WebPT. Thank you for joining us today to speak with this group. So these conversations were brought about in order to meet the demands of the community with these goals in mind. Thank you again for participating in this important discussion. Joan Kerber-Walker, President and CEO of AZ Bio, and I've known her for over a decade with the SciTech Institute and Festival. So we're really happy. I think this is the first time we've had a session where Joan is speaking. And so I really appreciate your willingness to come and talk with us today.
Well, it is a pleasure and an honor to be asked. And one of the ways we get things done is with leverage. So I've got lots of leverage because I've got lots of Jeremy stories that I can share from over the years. And but today we're going to talk about biosciences. And when we talk about bio is life. So if it is alive, it was alive, or it keeps things alive, that's what we talk about with biotech and medtech. And here in Arizona, there are over 300,000 people who are working in the bio and medtech fields. And we have a tremendous potential to not only make life better here in Arizona, but all around the world. Now, because it's such a wide range of things that can happen, think about it. Everything that we eat, everything that we look at from a health perspective, clean energy, and now as we look at global warming, all of those things have potential solutions that come from the biosciences. Because it's so broad, I talked with Hope and Jeremy, and we decided to give you kind of a quick 4-minute tour of just some of the things that are happening in the state. Would you guys like to run the video? When we look at Arizona's bioindustry, we see a broad spectrum of opportunities. Arizona's commitment to building its bioscience sector over the last 2 decades has resulted in a building boom of high-tech facilities across the state. The Biodesign Institute on Arizona State University's Tempe campus plays a critical role in advancing the research mission of Arizona State University and represents Arizona's single largest research infrastructure investment in the biosciences. In Southern Arizona, the Bio5 Institute and the new Bioscience Research Lab at the University of Arizona are home to collaborative teams that work to develop targeted cancer drugs, understand Alzheimer's disease, prevent and cure asthma and diabetes, and develop more resistant crops and create more nutritious food. BD Peripheral Intervention moved into a new headquarters on the Tempe IDEA campus.
It was really exciting and a long-awaited process to get us there. The team worked very hard to get moved in. The building is incredible. We have a fantastic state-of-the-art research and development lab that really helps us innovate, and the location is just fantastic. We are located on the IDEA campus, which stands for Innovation, Discovery, Education, and Arts, which is perfect for us as we really are founded on innovation. When I think about our team, not only do they work all day long endlessly on bringing life-saving products to market, they also constantly give back to our community. They're involved in community walks and fundraisers. You know, we even had a team of about 5 to 6 people who walked from Tucson to Phoenix over a 5-day period to specifically raise funds for a local veterans organization called the Fisher House.
The resources the state brings to startups like ours can help ensure our success. Here at Beacon, we've been able to tap into the resources and partnerships for the Center of Entrepreneurial Innovation to use their infrastructure and this lab space to develop and commercialize our test for early colorectal cancer detection called B-Screen CRC. And today, we're saving lives.
Arizona's healthcare leaders work with our bioscience innovators to create products that are safe, effective, and make life better for the people around us.
Arizona is the place to be for health innovation that is making life better for patients and their families. Clinical and research partnerships span the state, including important work that is being done right here at the Honor Health Research Institute, where we're proud to be the partner of choice for more than 200 sponsors, and where patients from all 50 states and 29 countries have come here to demonstrate first-in-human responses to promising new therapies.
Growing great bioscience companies requires great people. Talent is essential for success.
Medtronic employs over 700 talented individuals at our site in Tempe, where we are chartered with the development and manufacture of innovative implantable medical devices. We have a long history that sprouted from the Arizona semiconductor industry and are proud to be part of the current medical device community. Our operation draws on Arizona's diverse talent base for those who can develop and deliver the ultra-low power microelectronic solutions that make a true difference in the lives of Medtronic patients worldwide.
Arizonans have created world-class research institutes. Arizonans are pioneering in the fields of diagnostics, medical devices, and therapeutics. From our universities to our research institutes, our philanthropic organizations, and most importantly, our industry, people will work with you. They will find ways to collaborate, and they will help you succeed.
In the area of human health, in the area of using these tools and technologies, we have to combine efforts to make a difference. And Arizona in the past has been a collaborative, cooperative state. We need to continue to be, to really band together to be able to accomplish things that hopefully very few will be able to even come close to accomplishing. So,
the next phase for systems oncology is to exponentially scale up our pipeline of therapeutic programs. Our academic collaborators empower us to translate novel insights into innovative agents, and that accelerates the growth of our pipeline. Our pharmaceutical partners allow us to advance multiple therapeutic programs through regulatory and commercial success.
It starts with an idea. It may be in the lab, at a university, in a company, or just on a piece of paper. From that idea, we begin a journey from discovery to development to delivery, because as we deliver, we make life better for people here in Arizona and around the world. Thank you. So as you can see, there is so much happening in Arizona, and that was just a handful of the hundreds of thousands of people that are working to bring things forward. When we first started this under the leadership of Governor Jane D. Hall back before the century turned, there were a handful of companies in Arizona. Today, there's over 2,500. And those companies together, as I said earlier, represent over 300,000 Arizonans who are working together. And the number is growing every year. So as we were going through this conversation, we really wanted to talk about the most important thing that is going to drive that growth. And that is not the science, it's not the buildings, it's the people. And so when we talk about making life better through the biosciences, whether it's in medicine, medical technologies, in health sciences, figuring out how we're going to feed the world or manage water, those are all things that have to be done with people working together. And it will take greater minds than mine. So we wanted to talk a little bit about STEM and the important roles that STEM play in the biosciences. One of the biggest misconceptions is that everybody in the biosciences are these brilliant PhDs that sit in labs all day and are working on the next big thing. But the reality is that less than 20% of the people working in the biotech and medtech fields have advanced degrees. The largest sector of people working in the biosciences today have associate's degrees or high school degrees. They're the people that are working in the factories, that are working in the accounting systems, are working in the quality systems and the regulatory systems, who have developed very specialized skills which are needed outside of the lab. Even in the lab, many of the people working in a lab come out of our community college systems across the country. And so when we talk about science, technology, engineering, and math, it's the lawyers who learn the science so they can help us with the patents. It is the lab techs who are working across the community. And equally important, it is the clinicians and the healthcare workers who are working with us on the clinical trials during the development of new medicines, the patients who step up for those clinical trials, the healthcare professionals that help deliver these new products and services, and most importantly, the patients that partner with us every step of the way. So when we talk about the importance of science, technology, engineering, and math in Arizona, and how it's built our bioscience technology from something very small to today an industry that has over $35 billion in economic impact in our state every year, and that number is growing every year. We have companies that are making insulin pumps that will help diabetics manage their disease, companies working on cancer drugs, companies making cancer drugs, medical device technologists that are working to help us keep us moving, and apps that are working to keep us healthy, no matter what age we are. So with that, I would like to transition over to another great biotech company that started here in Arizona from a healthcare person who understood that there was a technological need to do things in a new way to make life better for people. With that, why don't we switch over to Russell?
Great, thank you. Really excited to be here, and yeah, it was amazing the impact that you all have had, and that is occurring right here in Arizona. It's exciting. So I'm Russell Olson, head of product at WebPT. We are the nation's leading web-based software platform for physical therapists, occupational therapists, and speech language pathologists. We refer to it generally as rehab therapists. So, you know, our story, or the WebPT backstory, is that essentially the idea for WebPT started in 2006 as our co-founder, Heidi Janenga, who is a physical therapist and a clinic director, began looking for a better way to solve, you know, her biggest problem, which was, you know, documentation of medical records. And, you know, after looking around to see what was out there and just not finding the right solution, she decided that she was going to take it on and build it herself, you know, with the team. And that's what launched WebP in 2008 as the first electronic medical record made specifically for physical therapists. And if you go to the next slide, you know, it's been an amazing journey. You can see over the past 13 years, WebPT has grown from literally a team of 2 people operating out of the back of a Phoenix coffee shop to one of the nation's largest and fastest growing privately held companies. Today, we employ more than 600 people, and we're helping more than 90,000 physical therapists run a better and more efficient practice, and ultimately improve, you know, care delivered to us as patients. And so today, WebPT holds about 40% market share and has touched about just under 20 million patients nationwide. So if you want to think about this in context, as you're driving down the road and you see XYZ physical therapy, you know, clinic, you know, you see the sign on in the shopping centers, it's highly likely that they're running the WebPT software. We'll go to the next slide. You know, WebPT's enduring goal is really to empower rehab therapists to achieve greatness in practice. And that means providing them all the right technology, tools, innovations to really fuel this and enable them to do what they do best and help people improve their lives. So since its inception, WebPT has expanded our proprietary technology suite to include over 12 different product lines. And this is everything ranging from how you document the clinical note to how you engage patients, to how you automate marketing as a small business. We even have an e-commerce store where physical therapists can buy, gym equipment and other goods for their practice. And it's all web-based, which means the therapists can securely manage their patients' practices from anytime, at any time, and from anywhere. Now, holding true to our mission, we keep our customers' evolving needs at the forefront of our technological innovations to ensure that our products are truly moving the needle for them. And so you might be wondering, how do we ensure that we continue to meet customer expectations while managing this broad portfolio of products? And really the answer lies in a concept that we've developed called the golden thread. So it's not just having lots of these different pieces, but it's how they work together. So if you go to the next slide, this is our best visual incarnation of this concept of the golden thread. So, when we talk about the golden thread, it's really a connector to keep the individual scope of each individual product tied to the broader organizational vision and help make sure that all of these pieces work better together. And so this is a visual representation about how each of these individual pieces that somebody might experience along the journey when either going to physical therapy, paying for physical therapy, being a physical therapist, working in a physical therapy clinic, how all those pieces work together to provide a better overall experience. Now, so to develop this golden thread, we use really a three-step process. We really focus on the customer environment. So we're constantly evaluating and debating the needs and challenges of our client base, which we refer to as our members. Last year, our team logged more than 150 visits, and this is prior to COVID, visits to our customers' sites, helping them understand what's happening on the ground and develop a deeper empathy for our members. And so again, we visit across the country, all sorts of different clinics, and even in COVID, it's not physical visits, but a lot of virtual interactions for sure. So, in that we gain a real understanding about the problems that are occurring. We understand the challenges that these businesses face at different sizes and volumes of patient care. And we're always looking now how to solve that and how to automate and how to, take the pieces and help them work better together. And that's ultimately what we do to weave these components together. So if you are looking at, how do you engage with the home exercise program? How does that engage with a therapist's notes and what they're documenting? How do we make it easier to pay? How do we make it easier to, interact with the other parts of the healthcare system? So maybe it's the orthopedic surgeon. So are you getting, physical therapy before your surgery, and then you get your surgery, then afterwards, and how do we transition you back into ongoing life? So really, it's this is our passion. This is our vision. This gets our team up in the morning to really look at how we, engage our members, how we help physical therapists achieve greatness in what they're doing, and ultimately fuel, the fire inside of our company. And so finally, if we look at the next slide, we were built by not being satisfied with the status quo. Heidi was not satisfied with documenting on paper charts. She knew there had to be a better way, and that innovation, that core value, that core belief we have continues today. And so not only are we looking at, working better together and taking all these individual pieces of the journey and aggregating them to a better whole, but we're looking at how do we disrupt and innovate on an ongoing basis. And so, when COVID hit, within weeks, we added virtual care visits to our platform. We're constantly looking for, how to, better automate and engage patients. We've also begun experimenting with robotic process automation to help our, internally scale, but also help our members scale their operations, and with the end goal of allowing them more time and more resources to engage with patients and improve patient care. And that's a quick summary and overview of who we are, WebPT, and what we're doing.
Perfect. That was an awesome presentation. Actually, we had some questions that we're going to ask for you, and you actually answered them right there for us. So that was awesome. One follow-up right away, Russell, I had for you is, this idea of the spark. I love that, this is something, Heidi, recognized this problem and then really wanted to figure out the solution, and that really drove it. And it was turned out a lot of other people had the same issue, and it really became kind of this founding concept. And kind of wanted to know, as the company matures, right? There's more people, there's more systems, there's more processes. And then how has WebPT balanced this kind of wanting to stay on course with kind of the trajectory that you're going versus like still being kind of on the edge and really creating these disruptive opportunities and kind of that, not a startup anymore, but still young. Like what is that? How's that balance with you?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely a challenge as you grow bigger. When you're small, you can make a mistake, and let's say that mistake affects 10% of your customers, and that might be 10 people, when you're small. But when you're at our size, 10% could be 9,000 users or 10,000 users, depending on what it might be. And so a small percentage at the beginning now is a big percentage and really impactful to people's lives. And so there is this kind of ongoing balance and struggle of how do we introduce the new, how do we keep pushing forward, but also how do we provide stability to the people using and relying on our product to run their business. And we've really solved that through some kind of innovations in technology and how we release and roll out our product. We have what we call it the 10-10-10 strategy. We develop a new feature, a new innovation, we roll it out to 10 clinics. We work with those 10 clinics on a very interactive basis. We understand, did that thing work the way we wanted it to be? And we get feedback in real life usage. And then we grow to 10% of our customer base. And so that allows us to understand operationally, does the support team know how to use it? Have we written knowledge-based articles about how it works? Are we ready to scale this? Is it going to bog the system down because now we have a lot more people using it? And then once we pass that, then we go to 100% of our customer base. And so, it's really the design of the platform, and being web-based enables a lot of that to occur, more seamlessly. And it allows us to then experiment and be on the bleeding edge with some of our customers who like that and want that. And then allows us to provide a very stable product for those that are, that aren't looking to have new things pop up every day, and they just want their system to work and be very stable. And then I would say the last piece is really the core values. When Heidi, co-founded the company, they gathered the early members of the company and, came up with a series of core values about what it means to be a WebPT employee. And, those things have permeated and maintained and grown with the company from, the 5 people early on to, hundreds of people now. And that really has provided an anchor for, what is our true north? How are we helping therapists achieve greatness? And asking ourselves that question, really challenges us on that every day.
Perfect. And going to Joan, you probably have examples of other, Arizona companies like a WebPT where it started in a similar way. You have any ones that stand out for you?
When we look at companies that started small, probably the largest company that started as a spark, Jeremy, as you like to say, was Ventana Medical System. And Ventana Medical System was founded by Dr. Tom Grogan down at the University of Arizona in Tucson. And he was a cancer pathologist. His job was to look at the slides, the samples that came in from doctors' offices, and then try and figure out what the cancer situation was. And he would work way, way into the night. He'd be ready to go home. And his nurse would come in and she'd say, Dr. Grogan, can you just look at one more? Because this patient is waiting. And so he thought there had to be a better way. And so he was home with his children and they brought out the slide carousel and they were looking at the 35mm slides. And he thought, wow, if we could put cancer samples in a slide carousel. And he started sketching on a piece of paper. And 25 years later, the company was bought by Roche for $3.4 billion. And today, the global headquarters for tissue diagnostics for Roche worldwide is in Tucson, Arizona. And they have changed the way that we look at and diagnose cancer. So that's a pretty cool story.
Yeah, that was an excellent. And so like as a follow-up to that, when you're looking at the balance of like, like the ones that just innovate, create, everything's here in Arizona, like the web PTs, how does that look kind of in the landscape of, ones that we're attracting here, ones that expand, that have moved here? Like what is the kind of landscape looking like when you gave the 2,500 companies at the beginning?
So basically what we're seeing, Jeremy, is that building a bioscience community, or really any community, is a combination of the people that were here in the beginning and the people that come to join us and work with us. I wasn't born in Arizona. So as that comes, we start building on that. One great example that I'm looking at that's emerging right now is a company called CND Life Sciences. So CND was created by a group of doctors who are all over the country and are led by a doctor that is at Honor Health. And so that doctor started to work with these other doctors to tackle a really big problem. So as we have a growing population, I know one of the questions in the chat are what are some of our big challenges? We have a growing challenge with an aging population. It's why we need more physical therapists. It's why we need more doctors. It's why we need more nurses. And it's why we need more science. So Parkinson's disease is a disease that disproportionately affects people that are aging. And it's a disease that we're not really great in doing the diagnosis of the various types of Parkinson's, except by trial and error. So CND has now developed a technology where they take a little sample off your skin and they analyze it, and they can determine what kind of neurodegenerative issue is going on in your body. And so their first laboratory is being set up in Scottsdale. And we have high hopes that that could someday be another Ventiana.
Very cool. I think we should look to so there's a question in the chat, and I think this relates with the broader topic of, engagement in the community, but, specifically starting with that, maybe go back to Russell first, because I know that WebPT has been a real shining star with Heidi and really her engagement with encouraging, especially women in STEM. What are your thoughts about Allison's question about how to encourage more women and underrepresented people to join the MedTech ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's probably starts in the schools and the communities of how we enable and provide access to more people. On a maybe a slightly different topic, as we look at our workforce, we have, the spectrum of people working at WebPT, from, engineers all the way to, support desk staff. And as people get sent home, some people already had super high speed internet, and some people were struggling to figure out how to even jump on a Zoom call, because at home they just didn't have those resources. So we spent a lot of time, talking even amongst inside our company of how do we create, more diversity, more inclusion, more equity within our teams, and help those and create an environment that allows everyone to excel and to learn and grow. And so I think, COVID's been interesting, I think, for all sorts of reasons, but I think that definitely drives something about how we can look, within our communities, how we serve the broader community. And I know Heidi's led, a number of those efforts, both internal at WebPT and beyond, to how to, highlight those that have been successful, and then share, those success stories and enable other people to be successful as well.
And Joan, I know AZ Bio has done a lot of work really, trying to figure out the best strategies to communicate this to the community. Can you talk a little bit about that as well?
Sure. So, as I said, people are the most important part. And we have here in Arizona what I call the who knew effect, which is that we have a talk like this, and I start telling stories, and people are like, wow, who knew? So a couple of things that we're doing right now here in Maricopa County, and up into northern Arizona. So if you're within range of ABC 15, We have a campaign that's going on with Sonoran Living, where once a quarter we do a 4-minute segment with them. The most recent one was on how to stay sun safe this summer. And then each of those highlights an Arizona company that's working with that challenge. We also have stories that are 1-minute stories that play on CW 61 and ABC 15 during the news hour to try and get the word out. And because we want to inspire people. More importantly, I think the comment of it has to start in our homes, in our schools. And so the more that we educate the moms, the grandmoms, the grandpas, the more that we can educate the kids about the opportunities that are available for them, and also to continue to support programs like SciTech and like the KEYS program at the U of A and programs at AFU, where we're giving these opportunities to young people from all walks of life to come in, to look, to touch, to see, whether it's Open Door at Biodesign or SciTech Festival events across the state, or lab internships at someplace like KEYS. It's really important that all of these students, boys, girls, where you live shouldn't matter. What really matters is, do you want to be part of something that can truly change the lives of other people? And let them know that they have the opportunity to do that.
And so like when we're preparing the workforce, like we're looking into, it's really interesting to hear the story about like 20 years ago, like there was basically not much here, and now there's so much here. Where do you see us being in about 20 years from now?
So if we continue our trajectory, we're currently a top emerging biotech state. AZ Bio's goal is for us to be a top 10 biotech state. We most likely will hit the top 10 in number of firms within the next 5 years. It's going to take us more. It's going to take us addressing the access to capital issue in Arizona, because if we're not investing in these companies, they don't grow. And that means that we're not growing jobs and we won't actually achieve our potential. So the angel investor tax credit, which the legislature is working on right now, is an important part. AZ Bio is taking it one step further. We actually have a federal grant to help us build what we call AZ Advances. So if you go to azadvances.org, we are working to build a $200 million endowment and a $50 million current use fund with the potential to fund early stage life-changing innovations that are originated in Arizona forever. That's how we will change the face of Arizona, and that's how we'll compete nationally and globally.
Wow, that's a great. I love the vision that you can present. That's awesome. And looking at the specific company perspective from WebPT, where do you see like way in the future, like 20 years, where is WebPT going to be in terms of those KPIs and global growth? Like, where are you going to take over a lot of different other areas beyond where you're at, or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously we talk a lot about, keeping true to our core values and our mission. It's really helping rehab therapists achieve greatness. And so as we start to look at, where that expands, maybe internationally, maybe start looking at some of the adjacent, therapies like athletic trainers and other pieces. So, we're just really looking at it, but it all centers back to how we help the therapists achieve greatness, and that ultimately impacts patient lives. And so I think the sky is the limit in terms of, everything that we're currently doing. There's still more. There's still a lot more we can do, a lot more growth to be had there. And then as we start to look at where we can expand, but it all centers back to our core mission and values of achieving greatness, and and that can be in lots of different ways. But yeah.
Well, thank you both for being here, talking about what you're up to. I'm going to hand it back over to Hope, who can take us into the next step with the breakout rooms. But really do appreciate you both taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks, Jeremy. And thank you, Joan and Russell, again, for taking time out of your extremely busy days. I know how much work you're doing and all the great work you're doing and impact you're making, not only on the lives that are here in Arizona, but beyond. So we really do appreciate your time today. If you want to stay on and be part of the breakout groups, that's wonderful, but we do understand if you need to go back and get some other work done. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to break out into 2 breakout rooms. We have Fritz and Claire who have this document I'm going to drop into the chat. This is an opportunity. We have some guiding questions that can be asked as the whole community, and anybody can go and put their thoughts and ideas. We aggregate all of this information, put it into a document, and then we send it out, plus this video and other resources that we find out to the community. So feel free to go in, add anything that you want. But we'll go ahead in those breakout rooms for about 12 to 15 minutes, and then we'll come back and do some share outs before we conclude today. So again, Joan and Russell, thank you again for your time. We truly appreciate you. And I will go ahead and open these breakout rooms. Hi, Joan, welcome back.
Yep, we're all popping back in.
Yes, how was your breakout?
It was very good.
Nice. Wonderful. Well, here we go. Looks like we're getting everybody back in. I know some people had to jump off for other things, but welcome back, everyone. We hope you enjoyed your breakout sessions and had some good conversation and dialogue. What I'd love to do just really quickly is maybe Claire and Fritz, can you share out 1 or 2 key takeaways from your breakout room with the group? So let's start with Claire. You want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So in our breakout room, we talked a lot about sort of the importance of communication, that, no matter how exciting or impactful the innovations are, they're not going to get anywhere unless we're able to communicate with, the public and communicate with elected officials and really find an effective way to share the information. And we also talked about sort of the importance of making sure we have education around like the basic public health initiatives, things like washing your hands and hygiene, and really making sure we put the emphasis on not just, the big innovations, but also the sort of daily life things that happen as well.
Yeah, actually, I think that's a great point, Claire. Sometimes it's important to tell both, right? But sometimes we have to start with the basics and then all the way up to, these new innovations, because if you don't have the fundamentals, those can be the preventative measures oftentimes. So those other things, may not need to be as needed in the future. So I think education in both and storytelling in both is incredibly important. So thank you for sharing that. Fritz, what about you?
Well, our breakout room, we had a conversation about, the questions, and the question, how might the STEM ecosystem community help and support, assist in the area of medical technologies, how better communicate and provide accessibility, is that it's definitely important for the ecosystem, the local ecosystem, because that is the network that the academic world can pass information into the local ecosystem or the local network. So for example, like internships, a lot of internships people wouldn't know about them unless they were plugged into the STEM ecosystem to then learn about the things that STEM institutions and organizations are doing. And so those STEM organizations and institutions are focused on the academics, the learning, and the doing of this science, technology, mathematics, engineering, what have you. But being able to communicate those coming and goings to the community that the STEM ecosystem is critical. It's the veins, it's the lifeblood. And also being able to, and then another thing that we talked about is how reaching out to other ecosystems, not just STEM ecosystem, like youth sports ecosystems, East Coast ecosystems, and being able to introduce other groups to science, technology, and engineering and mathematics, because some people might not even know that they had a love for science unless they're introduced to it. And so definitely being focused on what the science community is doing, but also being willing to go out into other communities and other networks. And networking with other networks is important to really move the communication along.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah, connecting ecosystems, which is a lot of the work I know you and Claire have been working on, and the SciTech, Institute as a whole. And Joan, I know you've been working on ecosystem kind of building with AZ Bio. So definitely this idea of building ecosystems and hubs, and each one talking and working with each other, but also to your point, Fritz, about finding relevance, right? Students need relevance. We're going to start young. Even people, as you go down this path, right, need to find something they can connect to, and have relevance to. So great points, Fritz. Thank you very much. So with that, wanted to thank Joan and Russell again for joining us today. It was wonderful having you. Our next community lunchtime conversation will be on Thursday, May 27th, same time, same place. But this time we'll be talking about STEM summer events. So as we're heading into summer, what's out there, both virtually and in person, that's going on? Whether that's for your family, whether that's for your kiddos with summer camps, but all sorts of different options that you can engage in STEM events this summer. So we hope that you're able to join us, and we thank you all for being here today.